Wikipedia admits Anton's mother was Emily von Oppenheim of the wealthy Jewish bankers, confirming that all these people are Jewish. Anton's aunt married John Dahlberg Acton, the first Baron Acton and Marquis Gropoli, who continued to pretend to be Catholic while taking Jewish wives. Lord Acton is the one who said, "Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely." He should know. His mother was the Duchess Dahlberg, grandniece of the Arch-Chancellor of the Holy Roman Empire. We also have General Albert von Speidel of the same period, and he later became artistic director of the Munich Court Theater, which reminds us of the von Hülsen-Heislers, who were both generals and theater directors. We never understood the connection until recently when we realized these wars were massive theater projects. Actually, all of government is. Also, Edmund Freiherr von Speidel, general of the previous generation. Also, WW2 Luftwaffe, General Hans-Georg von Seidel, whom Wikipedia mysteriously lists on the Speidel page. He's given no parents, but his birth and death dates are the spooky November 11th, 1894 and November 10th, 1955, telling us we are on the right track. Is it possible the von Seidels and von Speidels are the same family? At any rate, the von Seidels of Berlin were related to the Prussian king, since Martha Seidel married Erich Albrecht von Preußen, son of Prince Joachim, in about 1925. So as you see, it is the same people before and after every revolution, before and after every war. Hans Speidel was promoted to 4-star general in 1955 and became head of the German army. Just 2 years later, he was promoted to supreme commander of NATO, which makes even less sense. A Nazi commander of NATO in 1957? Really? He held that command until 1963, and the French are going to love this. Do you know where his residence was as NATO commander? The Palace of Fontainebleau in Paris. So Paris was occupied by the Nazis from 1940 to 1944, and then NATO allowed them to reoccupy it in 1957. Even Der Spiegel started to question some of this recently. In 2014, they noted that documents had surfaced confirming Speidel and these other Nazi generals were not innocent or turned after the war. According to official documents, they established the Schnellstruppe, an illegal covert paramilitary organization of former Waffen-SS and Wehrmacht officers. They allegedly formed to fight off the Soviet Union, but that story doesn't scan. As is admitted, the organization spied on left-leaning politicians in Germany, just as you would expect of a bunch of cloaked nobles. They were not only known to German intelligence, but worked with them. Of course, the Der Spiegel reportage is more misdirection, but it is useful to us nonetheless. All we have to do is dispin it. For more comedy, we find Speidel later undermined his own mainstream story. Remember, we are supposed to think he wasn't a bad Nazi because he turned on Rommel or something. So he was clean in some way they never bothered to clarify. But in 1960, Speidel won a libel case against an East German film studio that simply reported the mainstream story. To win that case, it had to be found it was false, which means Speidel didn't turn on Rommel. He wasn't a narc, but if he wasn't a narc, what was he? He was a loyal Nazi, which means his post-1955 story falls apart. He can't have it both ways. Another Nazi general rehired after the war was Adolf Husinger, whose name already looks Jewish.